Good morning, and thank you for joining us today to our second webinar in our networking series called Learn and Level Up. And today we are discussing and presenting back to you some of our thoughts on how to deliver a seamless network experience. So thank you once again for joining. This presentation is in partnership with Cisco. As a premier partner, we are looking to work with our managed services capabilities and how we can actually take the solutions offered by Cisco and help them deliver the outcome that you need for your business. And today, that outcome is looking at how we can deliver a seamless network experience. So I'm Andrew Fox. I'm the Sales Director at Trust Systems. Today, as I mentioned, we're really focusing on the evolving landscape that we are working within and how we can really look at technology to help us provide a more seamless way of connecting, a secure way of connecting back into our business critical applications and services to mobilize that workforce and to maximize that productivity. So without further ado, let's go through the slides. If you've got any questions, please feel free to message them as we go through, and I'll look to try and tackle any of them that land at the end. Okay, so the market and the environment that we're working in, we all hear the words and terms hybrid, flexible working, and that is very much becoming a clear demand and requirement for businesses to try and to cope and manage to ensure that they're offering the right environment and hybrid working that many of our employees today actually want to work within. So, just to bring that home, we are absolutely after 2020. We are now seeing around about 82% of workers still working in a hybrid mode, and will continue to work in a hybrid mode, and that means we've got dispersed users working from home, working from branch, or effectively needing to work and connect wherever they choose to do so, whether that's the train, on their commute, or on their way to the meetings, and or at their home office, as we said, as we've started to see that more hybrid model. Connecting in different ways. When you're looking at how corporates and enterprises are delivering and hosting their applications, they're onboarding a multi-cloud strategy. So no longer is your data in one location. We're looking at now hosting it in private data centers, in the hyperscalers, delivering a hybrid multi-cloud strategy, meaning again that method of connectivity into that business critical application or into that data source is different to maybe how it was a few years ago, or certainly it's certainly a more hybrid evolving strategy for multi-hybrid cloud hosting. And certainly lastly here, we're looking at applications everywhere. A lot of those applications are delivered as a service, hosted in the cloud, and to sort of take on further the multi-cloud strategy within your data center environment for your primary hosting. Actually, then the applications that your users are connecting to, whether that's Salesforce, whether that's expenses applications, they're going to be SaaS based. So how can you securely give those end users the right level of authentication and application control when connecting and when connecting everywhere? So many of these business requirements again are changing as we start to sort of talk and understand with our customers and our new prospects. It's really a question of, okay, well, what are you as a business now trying to deliver within your sort of network strategy, and these requirements are still consistent but are evolving, and it is around delivering for their end user that consistent experience. Whether the application is hosted in a corporate data center or in the cloud as a service, then the end user, that shouldn't be it's not a decision for the end user to make, that's a decision for the corporate, but it's the IT teams, it's the network team's job to make sure that connectivity into that application is the same as if they're sat at home or sat in the office, and that becomes a challenge when obviously we're talking about different bandwidth and different access technologies. But certainly consistent user experience is high on the agenda. Service agility. Again, as we're looking at different types of connectivity method, the WAN edge, the WAN network again is becoming more hybrid, is becoming less static, more of a mobile environment that people are looking to access their data through. And therefore, actually, that service agility, that flexibility to handle distributed workloads, and equally increasing operational hours. With remote access comes longer working hours, more flexible working hours. So no longer the strict 9 to 5. You're now looking really at supporting 7 till 7, and that's without looking at business critical applications for 24/7, 365 business operations. So service agility and ability to serve and always on is very much a key factor. Elasticity, not so easy for me to say, but the ability to dramatically scale up and down within your existing WAN environment. Again, I used the word static a little while ago. Now, the market and the business models are a lot more flexible. The markets are sometimes a little more challenging, and therefore companies want to have that ability to scale up, scale down, to make sure that actually when you are using different access technologies, you've got the ability to preserve that security stack, but at the same time being location and device agnostic, trying to embrace BYOD to avoid sort of capex costs from the organization. Again, just trying to give that flexibility to onboard and offboard, whether it's sites, whether it's individuals, areas, regions. But elasticity is very much a requirement within the current network infrastructure. Security, I just used the word sort of BYOD. We hear a lot again through the market of zero trust and giving access on demand or on request or rule-based access through that network to make sure that people are getting the right level of security control. Sorry, the network is providing the right level of security control to the right individuals to give them access to ensure that they're delivering and accessing the data they need. But equally, you're not allowing everybody in the organization to access data that they may not necessarily need to. That can be very much on a user-based or a device-based control point. And as we all know, the threat landscape is ever increasing. And when you're moving outside the security perimeters of a traditional wide area network or office environment, then that threat landscape increases. So how can you keep your corporate data and how can you keep your devices as secure as you possibly can, whilst providing operational efficiency and accessibility? And finally, in terms of requirability, I think management. We do see the shrinkage of IT teams, the need to have that always on availability of applications and networks. Therefore, the demand within the organisation is to have greater levels of access, to provide greater levels of visibility control, to not only to remediate, to control, but also set policies and procedures that improve the network and are as much real time as you possibly can, to flex within the demand of individuals or seasonal demands for websites, etc. But controlling what that network can do to make sure that the policies within the network are delivering for those end users. Again, secure but controlled access to give you an always-on environment, and how much of that you can do from a cloud-based portal, centralized portal control. Again, just speeds up that, whether it's authentication or whether it is the need for change. So let's just highlight in terms then of further sort of areas that we're seeing a lot of feedback from networking teams and security teams of where their challenges are. So we've heard about the business requirements, we've heard about the hybrid working and access to cloud anywhere. But what does that really mean today for today's IT teams and security teams? Well, it is their struggle is connecting the users to those applications. It's not an easy task. They've got to be considering mobile access through broadband from home, Wi-Fi on the move, but still giving that application access. We know that the threat landscape for security is increasing. It's a 24/7, 365 operation. Have your teams got the right people from a skills based, from a knowledge base, from a time to serve in terms of that 24/7, 365, to make sure that you've got the right level of protection against the evolving threat marketplace. And that becomes even worse when you've got multiple attack points coming into your business, or threats through vulnerable networks that you're looking to, or your users may be potentially wanting to connect via. And as we said, right to the point, it's delivering a high quality end user experience. As you're looking to roll out and as you're looking to have more disparate workers, you don't want to see any influx of IT calls to the IT support desk, because they're seeing increased latency, increased jitter on voice. We see more people wanting to switch on video like we are today, to make sure they're utilising the tools that are available to them to then do their job. But that has constraints or demand on bandwidth and a bandwidth through the network. So how can you then make sure that you're delivering that high quality end user experience to avoid one, to make sure they're productive and you're portraying the right brand image, but two, to then protect your IT teams, that you're not having an influx of calls when you're rolling out new applications and managing the IT estate. So I think it's fair to say that given the evolving marketplace, given the new challenges that we're seeing in the cloud environment and security, and that need to access applications everywhere, then I think it's fair to say that today, in today's market, there's very much a new approach needed when looking at WAN technology and security. So just to sort of reiterate this point, and I just thought it was useful just to bring in a bit of a diagram here, just to show you really what we're talking about in terms of maybe more of a traditional remote access VPN design versus, and I'll go on to show you in a few minutes, just how the market is evolving and changing for giving them the SOHO and software clients that access out to those more cloud hyperscale environments. So here we can see you've got the blue line that's demonstrating, the blue dotted lines that are demonstrating the traditional IPsec, SSL, VPN tunnels that were created very much through the corporate, through the internet back into the corporate network, either your IaaS infrastructure or into your on-prem data centers, into your firewalls, giving you then pretty much full access to your corporate network. And that's very much a traditional method of home workers connecting, and that would be through your sort of RSA sort of tokens, or your dynamic VPNs that you would then create from the laptops or from your devices back into those environments. And that again was a good way of traditionally giving your remote workers access. That's very much ensuring that they're very much from a static point, or that they are always on the same devices, and actually that they're corporate owned or controlled devices that they're looking to access on. And you are also, in terms of how you're accessing, all of your data is going through your corporate data centers. It's going through your corporate firewalls, which is creating more load and more, well, just general more workload for those parts of the network to manage and cope with. And that has demand on resource and therefore cost, as well as potentially slowing down performance, because once you've got to transition through those environments out to where the actual potential new applications are being hosted, whether that's the likes of Office 365 up in the cloud, Microsoft cloud, whether that's through to the LinkedIn or Salesforce, their software as a services that are then going through the corporate firewalls again to access that technology and traverse back through the corporate network to deliver to the soft client. Clunky, higher latency, potential risks for higher workloads, lack of ability to control that path through the internet and secure that data. Secure it, should I say, from a performance perspective. Then, as we look on the right of the screen, or certainly the right as I'm looking at it, we've then got the sort of more SD-WAN integrated approach for remote VPN access, and showing it as a bit of comparison next to the more traditional routes. And here you can see through the use of SD-WAN, you can then look to sort of push that traffic back into a SD-WAN edge appliance, and that may well be sat in your data centers, but you can actually push the traffic into there to control then still the parts of the network that you wish to have the control on to push back into corporate data centers through corporate firewalls back out to the applications up in the cloud. But if you are running through sort of software clients, and you can have the ability through the likes of Umbrella and DNA provide that access directly back into the cloud, avoiding the need to go through the corporate data centers, reducing the load, improving the latency, and therefore improving the overall performance of the network for that individual. And the constraints there are that you're not having to always come through the data center. It's a much more flexible approach for certain types of applications and services, but still giving you the control where required to come back into the corporate data center. Okay, so let's just delve into a little bit more about the Cisco SRX Architecture, which is a combined approach where you're not looking at just one technology to deliver that access control, because as we know and as we've discussed so far, that access is going to be quite different or potentially different for a secure remote worker versus a branch, and therefore it's looking at what technologies can the likes of Cisco provide that give you a seamless and better way of connecting through. So here we're talking about providing and combining the likes of Umbrella, which is looking, as we saw in the previous slide, a secure web gateway that's using DNS as a security method that will then give you that end user that ability to connect through the cloud securely, not always through the corporate data centers, but through the secure web gateway, delivering a cloud filtered firewall and security access to those business critical applications. We can then layer for the secure remote worker, layer over the top of that Duo to provide a multi-factor authentication, to again provide improved performance analytics, to provide improved device posture and health analytics, giving your end user that high level of security, and again your IT teams more information around the performance and health posture of those devices that are connecting, to give you true network access control and security to decide if you want to allow that device onto your network, and therefore it's a safe, it's considered a safe device to allow back into the network. Those are sat on top of the SD-WAN, and we can obviously link through, as we were describing in the previous slide, linking through the sort of the Umbrella and Duo via the SD-WAN edge, giving your end users the ability to connect through the cloud or back into the corporate data center to give you enhanced level of control and application and SLA performance across that SD-WAN edge. And then finally, we're looking at providing remote access tools through secure remote access to private applications within the data center through those corporate firewalls. And finally, the overarching layer on top of the as part of the SRX architecture is looking at Cisco's ThousandEyes products, which is a network monitoring tool that provides higher level of visibility control across your network to provide greater speed for resolution and visibility and control of that full end-to-end performance for individuals and for sites. Okay, so here we can talk just some of the major use cases for SASE. As we've mentioned, we've got secure remote workers. What are we going to do through using that SASE architecture? Well, it's about providing that seamless connectivity to apps anywhere, providing enhanced levels of security to access the internet and cloud applications, and ultimately providing enhanced device health and authentication for users, delivering best connectivity application experience for every remote worker. Again, just to give you a bit of a view there, we're looking at that remote access, remote worker back into the secure access service edge as part of your network access control and security at the edge. And that secure edge, what does that mean? What are we talking about when we talk about having that secure edge on that perimeter? Well, it's providing streamlined connectivity to apps across locations, provisioning SD-WAN fabric across thousands of users and locations, and securing access to apps and direct internet access, and identifying and resolving issues across multiple ISPs, multiple software SaaS providers, and public and private hosted applications. Just to give you a little bit more information about Thousand Eyes, I think it's a really important tool. It's a really evolving member of the network team stack that really is then enabling them to give a far greater level of visibility and control across your full network. Remote workers included, your cloud, data center, SaaS application services, to give you that visibility control, delivering sort of a high level of end user experience, and equally giving you the ability to map that application delivery and to map internet performance across all of your SaaS platforms. So without labouring the point, the idea of layering Thousand Eyes off across your network and as part of your SASE architecture, it's delivering exceptional user experiences, reducing mean time to identification of issues, and equally reduce operational constraints. So stop war rooms before they start. Look to identify and provide health checks across the network on a real-time basis, rather than waiting for something to break before we look to pull the trigger and starting to instigate the response. So why Cisco? Well, they have a very comprehensive network architecture that's looking at covering the full stack from a network perspective, really covering off security in detail across all access methods, and across network and cloud application and services. And again, they've got that high level of observability that can provide you with enhanced visibility control, monitoring, and ability to take real-time stats and to create actionable insights to keep your network up and running for longer. And then finally, components of the Cisco architecture. We've mentioned them through this presentation, providing to connect into the SD-WAN that's powered by Meraki, to look at the remote access technology using any Connect or Duo, and again through that control from a cloud security perspective, taking on their firewalls through Cisco umbrella with the secure firewalls, and then looking at zero trust with Duo for that network access control. How can we help as an organisation? Well, we are a digital systems integrator. We do work independently across a broad architecture portfolio, and we as an organisation have a proven solution integration. We're a managed services provider, providing greater connectivity, uptime, control, and visibility across your network. Ultimately giving you faster remediation, faster time to deploy, improved ROI through quicker rollouts, choosing the right technology and implementation, and then it's looking at how we can use the likes of SD-WAN and SASE to enhance security, to keep your application and services running at all times, and to provide a simple operating model through cloud services and cloud portals. So very much, thank you very much for listening to me this morning, and very much hope you enjoyed the session today, where we've just discussed the topics of how to deliver a seamless network through using the Cisco SASE network architecture. Our next webinar in our series will be on the 28th of June at 8:45, and again it's talking about simplifying, unifying multi-layered network security. There will be some themes that you have heard today and in the previous webinar that we'll look to continue through, and then the final webinar in the series is on Wednesday the 6th of July, where we're looking to accelerate a consistent integrated cloud network model. I hope you've enjoyed that session today. This will be available on demand, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future. And if there is anything on here that struck a chord, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, and I'll very happily come and discuss this in more detail, and specifically how it could improve your organization's network security and your remote workers performance and network experience. Thanks again.